Yo, yo, yo! What is up? Peace and richest blessings. Welcome back to the Burnell Washburn podcast. Sending you all my love, all my good vibes. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Thank you so much for taking this time to tune in and invest in your personal growth. I got mad love and mad respect for you. Got a fantastic episode in store for us today. Today's episode is all about cold showers, ice baths, cold water therapy, cold water immersion. This is the complete comprehensive guide, everything you need to know. I realize I talk about cold showers quite a bit on my Instagram stories, my YouTube channels, and just like little side notes and different podcast episodes. But I never have done a dedicated episode all about cold showers. So what I want to start doing with this podcast is do comprehensive guides that just teach everything that I know on a specific topic. So when someone reaches out on my Instagram DMs or something and asks me about cold showers, I can just send them one link to one episode that's everything I know about that topic. And they can learn a lot, and rather than like skipping around and just saying, hey, I talk about that on my podcast all the time, you should check it out. It's like they don't know what episode to listen to. The more episodes I make, the more overwhelming it is. And it's like I have like 300, 400 YouTube videos. I have like 40-something episodes of this podcast so far. So I want to start making specific episodes that are like deep dives onto a specific topic. And then I can just, here's everything I know about cold showers. Here's everything I know about fasting. Here's everything I know about meditation, So we're kind of wrapping up season 1 of this podcast. I can't believe I've been doing this for almost a year now. I'm just so stoked on the trajectory of this whole thing. It's really been one of the most fulfilling experiences that I've ever had. Like I launched this thing without really knowing what it was going to be, how it was going to turn out. I didn't know if anyone was going to listen or not. Didn't know if I was even going to enjoy it fully or not. I just knew that I have been learning and growing so much by listening to podcasts. I still, to this day, listen to like 4 to 6 hours worth of podcasts every day. If I'm driving, if I'm running errands, if I'm cleaning my house, if I'm doing anything that doesn't require me to be like actually talking, or, if I'm making music or something, then can't do it. But if I have this space, I am feeding my mind. And there's obviously, like, I take a lot of time to not listen to content as well. You can't just like completely drown yourself in other people's wisdom and stuff. Sometimes you need to go within and be silent, and because there's so much wisdom within each of us. But I cannot express how much podcasts have changed my life. So I wanted to start my own, and it really has been helping a lot of you guys too. I know a lot of you have been implementing new habits and routines and things like that have been improving your quality of life just because you're listening to this podcast, and it's helping keep you on a high vibration and helping you, learn some new stuff and try some new habits and things in your life that can help you live a healthier, happier, more fulfilling quality of life. So I want to start, since I recognize the power in that, I want to start taking this a little bit more seriously. And like I'm always saying, don't take everything so serious. Have fun and be goofy and silly and playful. And I'm all about that for sure. Like, we're not like taking ourselves too seriously here, but I am owning the fact that this podcast is like a school in a form. It's teaching people, it's helping people. And since it is, I want to provide as much value as I can and really give real wisdom, science. Because a lot of the stuff that I say is just kind of from personal experience, and I know the science behind it, but I haven't really talked about the science in depth because I'm not a super like detail-oriented type of person. Like I could listen to, 800 hours on why the science of cold showers, and then I just take away like what I should do from it rather than like all the little nitty-gritty science details. But I realize those details can help a lot of you, especially the more analytical, scientific-minded people. So I'm going to be putting on my big boy boots and going in depth a little further on a lot of these topics that I feel like the first season I've mostly been providing like little tidbits of like, I'll like briefly mention that something's good for you and that it's proven by science, but I haven't actually given like all the details on it. So we're about to go a lot harder, and yeah, it's time to put on our learning hats and go deep on some of these things. That said, I just want to give a huge thank you, sincere gratitude to all of you who have been sharing these episodes, DMing me, texting me. Even if you send me like a couple emojis, it's just, hey bro, today's podcast is straight fire. That is an amazing tool to help me market and get this message out to more people. And it's not about stroking my ego or how many numbers I get or like whatever. Like, I'm not even really making money. I'm investing my own money into this to help this thing grow. And you guys, some of you guys are investing money by supporting me on Patreon, $5, $10, $20 a month. Like, I can't even tell you. I think I'm making like a little over $100 a month right now from you guys, and that helps me pay for the podcast hosting and helps pay for the website and pays for all that. But it doesn't pay for all of the expenses, so I'm still kind of dipping into my own pockets in order to bring this value to you guys. And I really appreciate everything you guys do to support it. I can't thank you enough, for real. It means the world to me that you're actually listening. What matters to me most is that you're listening and applying the stuff that I talk about. Anything that resonates with you, you're at least trying it. You're having an open mind to at least implement it, and not just try it once, but you're giving it a real shot. You know what I mean? When I talk about meditation or cold showers or fasting, you're not just trying it once or twice, but you're committing yourself to a real long enough period of time where you're going to actually notice a change. So today we're doing a deep dive into cold showers. I just barely got out of a cold shower and I feel amazing. So first, I just want to speak from the heart and tell you my experience with cold showers, cold exposure in general, how it's improved my life, and just give you like an overall rundown of how it's really impacted me in a beautiful way. So I first started learning about cold showers from, I can't remember exactly who, but I noticed that a lot of the successful people I looked up to were talking about them. Entrepreneurs, spiritual teachers, athletes, you name it. People that I aspired to be like were talking about it. And one thing that if you're on a self-development journey, you'll start to notice trends. You'll start to notice, okay, how come every single person that I follow talks about these same things, even though they don't know each other, they're not from the same thought school, they're not from the same kind of like niche or whatever, or niche, however you want to say it, and yet they're talking about these same things that help them, and they're all from different backgrounds, and you know what I mean, and they're all saying the same thing. And I started noticing, how come like 80+% of the successful people I look up to talk about cold showers? You know, it's one thing if it was just Olympic athletes talking about it, but it's entrepreneurs too. It's spiritual teachers as well. It's like just all people from all across all different walks of life that are living extraordinary qualities of life are talking about the benefits of this. So then I started researching it. I started listening to different podcasts about it, watching YouTube videos about it. And I noticed just like all these people I look up to are doing this, so there must be something to it. It's similar to meditation. You know, it's like after you hear like the 100th person talk about it, you're like, all right, I'd obviously be a fool not to do this, because how come every single person I look up to is into this? And if you want it, you don't get what you want, you get what you are. So if you want a quality of life that's similar to these people that you look up to, you have to start by being how they're being, adopting their mindsets, adopting their habits, adopting their language. You know, what are they putting in their bodies? Who are they hanging out with? All these things. You start to see what their habits are. You implement their habits, and your life becomes more like theirs and more like how you want it to be. So I noticed this trend, started researching it more, learned all about the benefits of it, and was like, all right, there's too much science here for me to ignore this. Too much just also like anecdotal wisdom and data from people that have just, you know, from their personal experience, and them talk about how it's impacted them. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. So I had to step out of my comfort zone. All the growth that we want is outside of our comfort zone. It's it's not easy to take a cold shower, especially for me. I was used to taking these long, drawn out 30-minute, super hot as can be showers and using showers as a way to kind of like relax, and it was like a nice like comfort thing. Now I use showers in a whole different way that's just way more impactful. So I've noticed that since I started taking cold showers, I have been healthier, happier, way more confident, way more energy. I sleep better. I recover way faster from all the working out and all the hiking I do. If you guys follow me on like Instagram, you see me hiking like these gnarly 5-6 mile hikes, like, 4 or 5 days a week, sometimes more than that, going up really steep terrain. I'm blessed to live here in the Rocky Mountains, and I'm doing some pretty serious hiking, practically rock climbing half the time, on top of working out, on top of playing like crazy with my daughter, and I'm able to like not burn out as much. I'm able to have more energy. I'm able to recover quicker so I can get back to doing all these things that I love without, needing weeks off and stuff. So there's been profound benefits to it, but what I've noticed, the thing that's benefited me the most is on a mindset level and on a spiritual level. So what happens is when you do something that's unpleasant, but it's good for you, you start to rewire your identity as the type of person who does what's good for them, rather than maintaining an identity as someone who just does what's easy and what's comfortable in the moment. So I didn't even realize that I would get this benefit. Like I learned all about how it's good for your hair and your skin and your recovery, and reduces inflammation and helps you sleep better and turns on your brain and kills off your weak cells. And like I learned about all that stuff, and we'll talk about all that in a minute. But I didn't realize how big of a spiritual and mental impact it would have on me, because I'm recoding and rewiring my whole nervous system to be the type of person that just does what's good for me, rather than the type of person that just does what's easy. And that, because how we view ourselves, like our identity is everything. So I started to just like change my whole identity as the type of person that I don't care about what's pleasant in the moment. I don't care about what's easy. I care about what's best for me. Even if that means doing something that's unpleasant, that's difficult, that's hard, because a lot of times the things that are going to excel us and ascend us the most in life are the things that are outside of our comfort zone, that are the least pleasant, you know what I mean? In business, like entrepreneurship, sometimes the things that are going to grow your business are the things you don't want to do, that are going to kind of suck at first, but they're going to get you. There's a great quote that says, if you only do what's easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what's hard, then your life will be easy. And it's something like that. I probably butchered the quote, but you get the idea. If you only do what's easy, then your life will be hard. But if you're willing to do the hard things, then your life will get easier. And it's so true. It's like I used to always like take the easy way out and cop out, and I'd know certain things were good for me, but I went with short-term pleasure rather than delayed gratification. And then my life kept getting harder and harder and harder because I was constantly doing what was easy and comfortable rather than like what I knew was really good for me deep down. So as I started taking cold showers, I just started to develop this new identity, because identity is everything, you know what I mean? And it's how we perceive ourselves is who we'll continue to show up as. So I started to perceive myself in a different light. I started to perceive myself as just a badass motherfucker. I started to perceive myself as like more of a, just more capable, more equipped to handle challenges, more equipped to like, this is going to sound wrong, but like more of a manly man. Like I think gender is kind of like this weird made up thing in a way. And I don't want to like cause more separatism, because I know a lot of folks listening to might be like non-binary or whatever. So it doesn't matter, but you guys get what I mean by that. Like I felt like just more of a badass, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So I started to perceive myself as more of a badass, and then obviously start showing up as more of a badass, and I'm willing to do things that are, like this morning, I woke up and I was really cold and wanted to stay in bed, but I jumped out of bed. I made my bed, and within 2 minutes, I was in an ice cold shower, breathing deep, feeling good, and I jumped out feeling so good because I've been awake for 10 minutes and I already overcame my lower self programming. I already overcame the easy route. I did what was hard and it set the tone for the whole day. Now the rest of the day, I want to continue to do things that elevate my vibration, that make me feel amazing, that help me cultivate a stronger identity, rather than doing what's easy. I'm going to do what's good for me long term. And there's so much value in delaying gratification, because I know I could get instant gratification from taking the warm shower, or just like laying in bed longer and not making my bed. It's like easier to stay there and do that. But I know I'm going to feel better about my day. I'm going to sleep better tonight. I'm going to just take higher vibration actions throughout the rest of the day, and I'm going to feel better about myself. I'm going to feel more confident because I'm doing what's good for me. I'm doing kind of what's difficult and hard, and I don't care how long you've been taking cold showers for. They still suck. It's in the middle of December right now. It's freezing outside. I also went and grounded my bare feet in the earth this morning, as I do every morning, and it's cold out there. Going to do that too. It's not pleasant, but I feel amazing after. And it's just so important to continue to do that, because it's so easy to slip into like what's easy and comfortable and what's convenient. But easy, comfortable, and convenient don't create extraordinary lives. Easy, comfortable, and convenient creates laziness, creates... it actually, if you stay in your comfort zone, you end up being ultimately uncomfortable. When you expand your comfort zone, then you can be comfortable anywhere. You know what I mean? My comfort zone used to be so small, it's like I had to like stay in this small little bubble in order to feel comfortable. And the more I expand my comfort zone, it's like, all right, now I could be comfortable during things that are challenging, because I'm becoming anti-fragile. I'm becoming more resilient, and anti-fragile is actually better than resilient, because resilient just means like you'll last a long time, you'll last a while, you can go through some hard things. But anti-fragile means you become stronger the more you're tested. The more challenges you face, the stronger and healthier you become. And cold showers actually make you anti-fragile. There's actually a lot of science behind it, killing off your weak cells, because your body's like kind of going into like this survival mode in a way. So all the cells that are not the strongest are going to be killed off, and the strong cells are going to become stronger. It's kind of like a wolf pack, or a lot of animal herds will let the weak ones die so the whole herd can survive better. I'm pretty sure it's wolf packs. I remember watching a documentary on wolves one time, and it was talking about how if there's like an injured wolf or a sick wolf, they will actually exile it from the pack sometimes, or they'll stop feeding it, they'll stop taking care of it, so they let it die, because it's putting the entire pack at risk. Because if they have to slow down to keep this other weak one safe and use all their extra resources to keep that one safe, then they're not going to thrive as a collective as much. And it's just like gardening. I've talked about this analogy before with rose bushes. If you're growing a rose bush, and if you trim off, or just any plant in general, if you trim off the dead leaves, if you trim off certain parts and you prune the plant, then the plant will actually grow a lot stronger than if you just let it all grow. So you gotta, like, I have a bunch of house plants, and if any of them start to get brown widowed leaves because maybe they didn't get enough sun or water, or too much water, or whatever, the whole plant starts to suffer, because it's sending all of its nutrients to these leaves that are dying, and then it's basically using all of its energy resource to feed this dying part of itself. But if I cut off that dying part of itself, then it can send all its nutrients to the rest of the plant, and the whole plant as a whole can thrive and grow a lot healthier and a lot stronger. So when you take cold showers or ice baths or like a cold plunge in a river, which is like the ultimate, like you get 10 times the benefits if you do the cold exposure out in nature, because then you get the grounding, you get the earthing, you get the microbiome, you get all these amazing benefits from being out in nature. But it actually kills off the weaker cells in your body, which will actually boost your immune system, help prevent you from getting sick, and it'll help you recover faster and just help you build a stronger body, a stronger version of yourself. So I started noticing that I get sick less often now. I have way more energy now. I have way more mental clarity, and I just get out of the cold shower or an ice bath feeling like a badass, feeling like, you just overrid the lower version of yourself that wants to just stay comfortable and wants to do what's easy and convenient, and instead you chose to step into your higher self, embody your highest vibration, and do what the best version of yourself would do. And it pays off massive dividends. Every time I do that, I just feel so much better about myself, and then it creates this momentum going into the rest of my day where I just want to do anything else that's going to benefit me, even if it's going to be difficult. Because when I choose to like not take the cold shower, I notice a difference in my day. It's kind of like if you had a whole box of donuts or some super unhealthy food or something, and you're about to go to bed, and you get this little craving, and you give in to the donuts, and you eat the bunch of donuts. You're happy for just a second. For like that 5 seconds of mouth pleasure, you're loving life. But then you wake up the next day feeling like maybe bloated and tired and sick and not as energetic, not as motivated. And you kind of feel down on yourself because you're like, I got all these fitness goals and I've been trying to eat healthy, and I told myself I was going to eat healthy, but then I caved in. And you don't want to beat yourself up. You know, we're all going to slip off path occasionally. You know, there's some days where the ice bath wins, you know what I mean? I go to fill it up and I just can't bring myself to get in. But when you do follow through with what's good for you, you just feel this like rush of endorphins and like more confidence, because confidence comes from keeping our word to ourselves and doing what we tell ourselves we're going to do. And it's in alignment with my vision for my health and for my mindset is beautiful, and that's the life I want to live. So I know that cold exposure helps me embody that lifestyle to a higher degree. And when I don't do it, I feel the consequences. I don't feel as badass. I don't feel as good about myself. I don't feel like I'm moving in the direction that I'm trying to go. It's like if I were to eat all those donuts before bed, sure, they'd be enjoyable for a second, but I'd wake up feeling not as good about myself. And when you don't feel as good about yourself, you don't have as much motivation pulling you to do more good things. You kind of just want to like for example, if I do eat unhealthy, say I just have a total like cheat day or something, the next day it's harder for me to eat healthy. I can't just bounce back. It's like I kind of have to like transition back into it slowly. I'm not going to like just go straight to like the super high vibe habits. It's going to be like, I use this analogy sometimes, like pizza. I don't eat pizza that often, but when I do eat pizza, all of a sudden I'm craving it again the next day and the next day. And like, I want pizza like every day after that because it was so good. But if I haven't had it in months, like it doesn't even sound appealing usually. Usually it just like doesn't really sound that bomb. Like I'm just like craving some, when you eat healthy, you start craving things like kale and spinach and cucumbers and broccoli and stuff like that. You're like, man, so vegetables just sound so good. You'd rather have that because you start to become addicted to this higher vibration. You start to become addicted to this better version of yourself. And it feels so good to be that version of yourself. You just don't want to be anything less than that. Once you know what it's like to play at a high level, you don't really want to accept or tolerate anything lower than that. So that's kind of like the unexpected benefits that I got from cold showers. I'd say the overall biggest benefit that I got, if you were to only take away one thing from this episode, is that I just really rewired my whole identity. I started to view myself as a different type of person. I started to view myself as like more like my grandpa. Like I used to look up to my grandpa and feel like this dude's badass. Like he's gnarly. He's willing to work hard. He's willing to be out in the elements. He's willing to like do what it takes to get the job done. And he doesn't care. He doesn't seem to like ever complain about being in pain or being too cold or being too hot. Like he's just like a strong man. He passed away, rest in peace, but he was a super strong man that just really inspired me, and I just felt like he was like this badass old man. And I remember when I was like really young, we were out in Massachusetts, and the Atlantic Ocean up in the northeast part of the United States is cold as fuck. Like it's not like Southern California where you're like surfing it. Like people don't get in the water there really, and especially in the wintertime. Like it's fucking cold. And I remember seeing my grandpa just like take off his shirt and just run all the way into the ocean. And like he was the only one in our whole extended family that got in the water. And I remember like being a little kid and not really realizing it, but I was just like, man, he's a badass. He's gnarly. He's crazy. Like, and now I get it. Like he's just, now that I've started to, I've kind of like started to build my own identity as a person that does stuff like that. And now I'll never hesitate or pass up an opportunity to get in a cold, natural body of water because I know how good it's going to feel. I'm not going to do what's easy and comfortable. I'm going to jump out and I'm going to feel so much more energized. If you go to the beach with a group of people and you're the only one and the water's super cold, you're the only one that jumps in, you're going to feel more energy, more mental clarity, and you're going to get more out of that beach experience than anyone else that's with you because you got in the water and you really got that energy and that frequency just encoded in all your cells. So that's really the main benefit that I got from cold showers is just this whole identity shift. So now I want to talk about more of the science and some of the physical benefits that I've received. There's a lot of research that's been done on this topic, a lot of information you can find on Google and YouTube and different podcasts and things like that. You can also go to like WimHofMethod.com and it'll teach you a lot of Wim Hof's breathing techniques and give you a bunch of science on cold showers there as well. So I've talked about it kind of making you more alert and more energetic and just kind of raising your vibration. And it does that by actually stimulating you to take deeper breaths. If you take a cold shower right, you're breathing slow and deep. You do not want to get in the water and go like that's the wrong way to do it. If you're doing that, you need to slow down your breathing. And real quick, before I jump into all this stuff, I want to say I am not a doctor. None of this is medical advice. This is just my personal experience. I don't play a doctor on the internet. Consult your physicians, keep taking your meds, whatever. I just have to say that disclaimer for legal purposes. None of the things that I'm saying in here are claims. They're just what's worked for me. And I disclaim any potential harm that you might do to yourself through listening to anything, because I'm not a scientist. I'm just a dude who likes to do cool shit, and it works for me. I like to share it, but I'm not claiming that this is any sort of real medical advice or anything like that. I don't want to get in trouble with the law here. So when I say that it cures depression and all that stuff, don't stop taking your antidepressants or whatever you're taking. Like, consult your physician always. Figure out what works for you. I'm just sharing what works for me. But I've talked about it increasing your level of alertness and raising your vibration, and it does that by helping you breathe deeper, which actually decreases the level of CO2 throughout your body, helping you concentrate and keeping you focused throughout the day. It helps you build a more robust immune system. Scientific studies have shown that taking cold showers increases the amount of white blood cells in your body, and white blood cells help protect us against disease, helps boost our immune system, and it leads to an increased metabolic rate, which does stimulate the immune system and helps us burn more calories, which is why there's been a lot of studies on it helping with fat loss. I've actually lost a ton of fat. I used to be, before I started taking cold showers, I was like 26% body fat. Now I'm probably below 10% for sure. And that's not the only thing I've done for fat loss. Obviously, a lot of that's through diet and exercise. But the cold showers do increase brown fat, which is like the healthy fat. And the more brown fat you have on your body, the more calories you actually burn throughout the day. Brown fat's like the good type of fat that kind of protects your organs and stuff. And it burns more calories than like the unhealthy fat does. So it helps you just burn more type of fat. Like brown fat's just like a specific type of fat tissue that generates energy from burning calories. Like it turns calories into energy more than like the other type of fat, which is more like storage. So it is, an effective tool if you're looking to lose a little bit of body fat. And does help you increase your willpower. Like I said, it takes a strong mind to endure the cold for extended periods of time. And just by incorporating these cold showers into your daily routine, you're strengthening your willpower, which is what I spent a lot of like the first 20 minutes of this episode really talking about. Another huge benefit that you might have heard people talking about is that cold showers and cold exposure can actually alleviate depression. And there's been quite a bit of research on this as well. But basically, there's several mechanisms by which cold exposure is supposed to elevate our mood. A lot of the studies hypothesize that cold exposure activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is basically your fight or flight, which actually increases the release of noradrenaline in the brain, along with a lot of other happy chemicals like serotonin and dopamine and all these things that make us feel good. It sends an overwhelming amount of electrical impulses from the brain, from peripheral nerve endings to the brain. Not from the brain to the, I said that weird. It sends an overwhelming amount of electrical impulses from peripheral nerve endings to the brain, which could result in an antidepressant effect. Another study found that bathing in cold water reduces levels of cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. It's released the most when we wake up in the morning or when we're just like under extreme stress. And I know from personal experience, I feel way less stressed out whenever I take cold showers, which is almost every day. But I notice when I don't, I start to catch myself getting stressed out more often. It really does lower your cortisol, but also it's like you're exposing yourself to a stressor, thus becoming more immune to stresses. So it's like the more you, for example, some people will take local honey to help with allergies because the honey has like all these pollens and all these things that are causing the allergic response. So you're kind of like a flu shot too. Like I think I don't fully know a whole lot about flu shots because I'm not down with them really. But it's kind of like exposing yourself to the virus helps your body fight it off and not become as affected. So it's like exposing my nervous system to this extreme stress of ice cold water in an ice bath or a cold river is helping me become less stressed out and just more resilient to stress. And because my body's more used to being under massive amounts of stress, and I'm breathing deep. And so I'm basically training my nervous system to go like deep, because ice cold exposure puts your body into a deep sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response. But then the deep breathing takes you into a parasympathetic nervous system. So it's like, how can I go through an extremely stressful situation and be super calm and super relaxed and not let my breathing get out of control? And then it helps me when I'm in an argument with someone, or which I'm not really getting arguments with people these days, but if I were to get in a stressful situation in other aspects of life, I'd be able to be more calm during it and breathe deeper and not be like freaking out, because I'm already training my nervous system to like, here's how you react to massive stress. Here's how you handle this like crazy situations that are going on. You can breathe deeply through them and be at peace during them. Another major benefit, which I briefly mentioned before, is that it promotes muscle recovery, helps you recover faster from exercise and workouts, reduces inflammation, constricts your blood vessels, and just kind of helps reduce all that inflammation and soreness. But one thing that I learned more recently, which I wish I would have learned like 2 years ago, is that you don't want to do a cold shower or an ice bath like right after exercise, because you want your muscles to be a little inflamed. Otherwise, you're not growing your muscles. I was like working out like crazy, but I was always taking an ice cold shower right after. And I was wondering, how come I'm not getting the muscle gains that I want to get? And so I started researching it more and more, talked to some experts about it, and they're like, yeah, you don't want to do the cold shower like right after. You want to wait a few hours after, or do it before. If you do cold exposure before your workout, you will actually work out better because you're more energized, so you're going to get a stronger workout. But you don't want to go longer than like 8 or 9 minutes, because then your muscles will get too cold and it'll take you too long to warm up. So you're 5 minutes or less usually in the cold, breathing deeply, relaxing, and then you get out and you shake your body out. I do some qigong, and then I take a little bit to warm up my muscles, do some jumping jacks and stuff to get my muscles warmed up, and do some breath work, and then I can just crush a workout. It improves your hair and your skin, and it's like hot water can dry out your skin and your hair. Cold water, like if you think about cold, makes things contract, and heat makes things expand. So cold actually will like contract your pores, and which can be really good for your skin health. And I notice my skin and hair just look so much better. Like people have started to comment on my hair sometimes, and what are you doing differently? It's like, I'm rinsing it in cold water. I'm making sure I only get like ice cold water on my hair. I rarely ever let hot water touch my hair. Another cool benefit, especially for men, is that it increases our testosterone levels. It lowers the scrotal temperature, which allows for optimal production of sperm and testosterone. And if you're a man, you know our testosterone levels are so important. Even if you're a woman, these testosterone and estrogen, like having the right balance of all these hormones, is crucial to our overall health and overall performance. Cold showers are an instant mood enhancer, an amazing nootropic. It really does turn on our brain. I always notice a lot more mental clarity and cognitive acuity after taking cold showers, or especially ice baths. It's really meditative when you're in an ice bath. Like, allows you to tune into your body and be present, and it allows you to not freak out when there's a challenge. Like your body wants to freak out and go and jump out and spaz out, but if you can just breathe through it and meditate, it just like really trains you to do that during other challenging situations, like in emotional challenges, or business challenges, or relationship challenges, or whatever. Like, you can breathe and be present and not have to immediately react to it, because you're like, I know I'm going to be okay. Like you're sitting in the ice bath, and your body might at first feel like it's freaking out. Like sometimes when I first get in and it's really cold, I can't even breathe for a few seconds, and my brain gets all dizzy, and it's this crazy feeling for a few, and your whole body's like, what the fuck is going on? And then like after a minute of deep breathing, you start to feel amazing, and you're like, I can stay in here forever. I'll be here as long as I want. And you don't want to do that, because anything longer than 10 minutes is going to start to be, especially during the winter, you're going to start to get hypothermic, and it's going to lower your core temperature so much you're going to have trouble staying warm throughout the day. So I say less than 10 minutes, more than 3 minutes. Anything less than 3 minutes is not going to really do as much good as you want it to. Another amazing studied benefit of cold exposure is that it inhibits the production of TNF alpha. TNF alpha is basically a signaling molecule that tells your immune system, hey, there's a threat here. There's a threat in our body. We need to get rid of this threat right now. So what happens is TNF alpha actually, it'll tell your immune system, hey, there's some bad shit going on in here. We need to ramp up into high gear. So then your immune system starts producing things like, basically like it actually produces bleach to kill off bad things inside of your body. But what happens is your immune system doesn't know that there's really a threat or not. It's just being told that there's a threat, maybe because your poor diet, or because different chronic conditions are going on. And so your body thinks that it's being attacked. So it's making these chemicals to kill these attackers. But then those chemicals are actually what's hurting you the most. It's hurting your tissue. It's hurting your muscles. That's why, people are all into like turmeric and anything to reduce inflammation. That's why all these cryotherapy spots are popping up, because people are realizing all the benefits of like of turning off unnecessary inflammation, like just having a healthier inflammatory response in your body. So it's really cool how it inhibits the production of TNF alpha and basically tells your body like, hey, we're safe here. You don't need to produce as much of that stuff, because there's not, we don't need to like create all these crazy chemicals to kill off all these bad guys. And another reason that it boosts our immune system is that it increases levels of glutathione, T killer cells, and lymphocytes, which are all a variety of different immune system cells that have different functions in our healthy immune response. And all of these cells are strengthened and enhanced from cold exposure. It also increases human growth hormone, HGH, which is basically how easily your muscles can grow. You know what I mean? It actually uptakes the amount, upregulates the amount of glucose that's pulled into your muscles, rather than like extra blood sugar going to be stored as fat or stored as liver glycogen to be used later. It actually goes into your muscles more so you can get those gains. Another amazing benefit that a lot more science is starting to come out about is cold exposure's benefits on our thyroid health. Thyroid gland is a gland that rests on the neck, kind of near your Adam's apple. And thyroid health is directly related to all aspects of our health and our body. I mean, really everything's all holistic and connected, so that should be obvious. But thyroid influences all the other glands and organs. It regulates our body temperature. It controls our metabolism. It does all sorts of amazing things for us. And if our thyroid's out of whack, we can start putting on a lot of extra weight. We might feel fatigued. We might feel drained. We might have trouble emotionally. So cold exposure has been shown to boost our thyroid levels. And that if you can improve your thyroid health, you're going to improve your overall health on so many levels. So another amazing benefit is that it drains our lymphatic system, and our lymph is like the only part of our body that doesn't really have like a pump. So like the only two ways to really drain this lymph fluid is to jump up and down. That's why people use those mini trampolines. They're called rebounders. Almost every biohacker and health expert that I look up to has a mini tramp in their house. I'm about to get one. I think my daughter will have a blast on it too. But yeah, it's jumping up and down and getting cold exposure is like pretty much the only two things that really help our lymph. So they're very important. A lot of us don't do either of those enough. So, man, I could just go on for so long. I could pull up my phone right now and like research Google and tell you like 80 more things that are like scientifically proven of cold exposure. But like I said at the beginning of this episode, I'm really not like a detail-oriented person. I'll hear all these science and all this detail, and like someone could spend like 30 minutes talking about glutathione levels and all the little nuances that I've briefly mentioned. And all I take from it is, taking a cold shower makes you sleep better. And like I take the kind of overall gist of the science and put it into like layman's terms for myself so I can understand it. And I don't really care about all like the little nitty gritty science details. I more care about like what do I need to do? Is this good to do or is this bad to do? And like I kind of simplify everything. But there's just so many benefits. Like do some research on your own. If you just Google or YouTube health benefits of cold showers, you'll see a lot of information repeating some of the stuff I've talked about, and you'll see some stuff in a lot more depth. I realize I'm not the greatest in the world at explaining all the science. There's a lot of doctors that can speak much more eloquently than I can about this stuff because they've been studying it and talking about it for decades. Whereas this is something that's just kind of new within the last few years. But it's helped me so much. It's really been like one of the biggest game changers physically, mentally, spiritually. It's one of the best things I've ever done. Best gifts I've ever given myself. I just feel like a whole new person. I feel like a better version of myself. And anytime I go more than a few days without cold exposure, I start to notice a difference. I get more irritable, more fatigued. I don't sleep as well. My complexion isn't as good. I feel more sore, more tired, less motivated, less just like badass and like feeling like I can conquer the world. Because doing hard stuff like getting in an ice bath, you just feel like you can conquer the world, especially if you do it early in the day. It's just like anything else in the day is going to be pretty easy. Like going and scraping the snow off your car is nothing after you've just been sitting in an ice bath. It's, you know what I mean? Like people see me dipping my feet in the cold river and walking through the snow in the middle of winter barefoot, and they're like, yo, you're crazy. You know, someone just said like my feet hurt just watching these videos, because I post little clips of myself like walking through the snow and the water in wintertime, and people are like, you're crazy, my feet hurt just watching this. But I'm like, no, it's the exact opposite. You feel so amazing, so refreshed and energized and strong and healthy when you do this. You know, when I fail to do that, that's when I feel like I'm my lower self. So I had to do this episode today all about the benefits of cold exposure. I was just listening to this podcast the other day of this woman who had severe arthritis. Like she just shakes like crazy, and she does cryotherapy twice a day. And it's like the first time she can like open her hand fully, and first time she can like hold her cell phone without just like shaking like crazy, and she can write legibly, and you know, so many benefits that she's received from cryotherapy. So I highly encourage you to do more research on your own if you're a super analytical minded person. But most importantly, I recommend that you just try it. And you might not start out with a 10-minute ice bath right off the bat, but maybe you start out in a small way and you work your way up. You know what I mean? There is some benefits to going from hot to cold. You get in the hot shower and then you switch it to cold for the last 2 minutes. There's a lot of benefits from that, even from going back and forth from hot to cold. I personally don't like that as much, and I'll tell you why, for 2 reasons. Number one, it's actually, it's kind of gnarlier in a way, going from super, super hot water to super, super cold water. Like it's almost more intense. But I don't get as much benefits from going into the hot first and then switching to cold as I do just going right into the cold, because going right into the cold is like this mental hurdle that I have to overcome. It doesn't seem pleasant. I just jump in, and like within like a few seconds of being in there, it's like gnarly for the first 30 seconds, and then as soon as I like slow down my breathing, I'm like, I just feel this euphoria. I just feel like a badass. I feel like the best version of myself, and I'm just like, I just conquered the day. I can like take on the world now. What's good? Let's go. And I just jump out feeling like just the absolute best version of myself, and I'm like, cool, what else can I do? All right, I'm gonna record a podcast now. I'm gonna clean my house now. I'm gonna make that phone call now. I'm gonna do that thing that I've been putting off for 3 weeks. I'm just going to handle that right now. Like you just start to feel like you can conquer the world. And I get that feeling more from jumping straight into the cold than I do from going from hot to cold. You know, ideally, at my next house, I will be building a cold plunge, which I'm going to get one of those, probably, depending on my situation, I'm probably going to get one of those outside freezers that like some stores would keep their ice in, and I'm going to fill that with ice and cold water and be able to jump in to the cold plunge. And there's a lot of different ways you can make a cold plunge for yourself, but then I'm also going to have a hot tub, so I'm going to be able to go back and forth from hot to cold, and there's a lot of benefits from that. But I just get this, it's like I just overcame like something that I really didn't want to do. It's like I've been doing this for a few years, and I still almost like back out almost every time. I'm almost like, I don't know about a cold shower today. And then I'm like, nope, just the fact that you're resisting it means you need it more than anything. So to just jump in, and then I feel like this huge mental win from just overcoming my lower self and conquering the day. So how you want to start taking cold showers is you might want to start going from hot to cold, or just start maybe not as cold as your shower can go. Like in the wintertime here in Utah, my shower gets really cold. I actually get bummed out when I travel certain places. Like I was in Southern California recently and Hawaii recently, and it's like their showers didn't get cold enough for me. I'm like, I'm trying to take a cold shower. I got this on the coldest setting, and it just like feels kind of like slightly refreshing. It's not like the shoot, because I love the. I've been used to getting in the ice cold rivers where I literally have to like break through the couple inches of ice just to get into the water. Like that's how deep I go. But I worked my way up to that. I didn't just start there. I started I think I started going from hot to cold, and then I would take like a cold shower like real quick and jump out and dry myself off really quick. And now I can be in there for a long time. Like especially I have long hair, so washing my hair, I'm scrubbing it with the shampoo, and then I put the conditioner in. And if you're using conditioner properly, you are leaving it in for a couple minutes. So I'm just letting the cold water go all over my body, and I'm slowly turning to hit all sides of my body and breathing deeply. And then I rinse out the conditioner, and I get so much extra benefits when I really let the cold water go on my scalp and my face. I can't remember exactly why. I heard some science on like when it hits your face, it does something really cool. But ice cold water directly on your face is amazing. And your body has the most cold receptors on your chest and the top of your scalp. So if you let the cold water fully immerse your head and your chest first, then it's not much of a problem for the rest of your body. The rest of your body can adapt to it way quicker. So like right when you jump in, let it go on your scalp and your chest, and slowly turn around and let it hit every area of your body while you're breathing slowly, and stay in there as long as you can. But work your way up. And like I talk about all the time, start small to win big, and don't beat yourself up for the days that you wussed out and didn't do it. Just give yourself massive praise for anything that even if you're in there for 30 seconds, like give yourself a huge pat on the back. Go post about it. Go brag about it. And when I say brag, I don't mean like in like a mean way, but like praise yourself for it in a badass way of like, yes, I just took my first cold shower, or I ended today's shower with cold water instead of hot today, and I feel like a badass. Like, big up yourself for any progress that you're making, so you can give yourself that positive reinforcement, which will encourage you to do more positive behaviors. Versus beating yourself up and, being down on yourself for the day that you didn't do it or whatever. Like, start small to win big. Another thing that really helped me when I was first starting, which I don't need to do as much these days, like sometimes I just like to wake up and jump in. Like, wake up, make my bed, and I jump in. And so like within the first 10 minutes of the day, I've already done 2 things that I didn't want to do that felt difficult, but then made me feel better and made the rest of my day and the rest of my week better, and just really improved my whole life. So one thing that helped me before that, though, is I would exercise before. And like I said, you don't want to do like a super gnarly workout where you're trying to get muscle gains, if that's your goal, and then completely soak in cold water right after that, because then you can hurt some of your gains. But just doing some jumping jacks, some jump rope, or some cardio, or like just a quick warm up to get your body warm, that really helps me. Sometimes I'll like do a bunch of jumping jacks, maybe like vacuum my house, do a little breath work, and I do what's called coffee breath. If you follow breath work or yoga at all, you might have heard of coffee breath, which is in and out through your nose really fast, and you do like 3 rounds of 30, or you could just I'll kind of demonstrate it real quick because it's easier than explaining it. But you're basically you're exhaling really powerfully, really strongly through your diaphragm, and you're not as worried about the inhale. So it's like And it sounds like I'm ventilating myself, but if you do that properly, and I kind of like, I lift my arms up in the sky like a Superman, and I'm pulling, and I'm making a fist, and I'm pulling my fist towards my abdomen on every exhale. Breathing really strongly through my diaphragm and getting my core engaged really heavily, and it just oxygenates my body, and I can't say that word right. Warms me up like crazy, and then you can jump in the cold shower a lot easier when you're already warm. So that's kind of when you're starting out. You want to probably get warm, so then you're more likely to do it. And what really helps me is setting a clear intention of how many days per week I'm going to do it, or choosing which days you're going to do it. So you just cut out the decision. If you have to make a decision on whether you're going to take a cold shower or not every day, it takes up a lot of your mental capacity to make decisions in general. So I just decided 5 days a week, minimum, cold shower, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. On Saturday and Sunday, I can choose whether I want to or not. I give myself a little bit of leniency 2 days a week where if I want to take a hot shower or no shower at all, that's fine. I'm not going to beat myself up for it, but I'm holding myself accountable to doing 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. It does not matter if I feel like it or not. It does not matter what else is going on in my life. It's just a non-negotiable. I'm doing it. End of discussion, period. Versus if I wake up every day deciding on whether or not I'm going to do it, then it's a mental battle. You know what I mean? And it's just harder to live life that way. It's way easier to just decide, like, okay, this is how I live my life, and this is what I'm committed to doing, and I do it regardless of how I'm feeling. I'm not going to leave it up to, like, whether I'm in the mood or not, because chances are you're not going to be in the mood most of the time, so you just have to pre-commit, set the intention that you're going to do it, and if you're just starting out, maybe you don't need to say 5 days a week. Maybe you're going to say, okay, 1 day a week. Every Monday, I'm starting my week off with a cold shower, no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and then you ramp it up from there, and then you start, okay, now I do it every Monday and Wednesday, and now I do it every weekday, and, like, you build it up over time. But there's just so many benefits. There's too much science out. There's too many successful people talking about it. Too many healthy, extraordinary high performers that are doing this to, like, ignore it. You're just playing yourself if you're not going to do this. You know what I mean? And if you're listening to this far in the episode and you're still not doing it, then I don't know why you're listening. I don't know why you're going to do that to yourself and sabotage your own well-being. You know what I mean? But a lot of you guys really have started taking cold showers, or at least tried them a few times because of this podcast or because of my content. And I applaud you. You're badass for that. You went beyond your comfort zone to try something that was going to be good for you because you heard about the benefits of it, and you heard about someone who's getting results from it, and you want those results too, so you're going to try it. Like, I'm sleeping better. I'm more energized. I don't deal with anxiety and depression as much at all, really. I'm cognitively performing at a higher level. I am not procrastinating as much. I can't believe I didn't say that in the beginning. Like, that's one of the biggest benefits of God is, like, I don't procrastinate anymore on anything that I know is good for me. When I need to send that email or make that phone call or do that thing that's going to be difficult, I just do it because I know that there's beauty on the other side of that. I know I'm going to feel great on the other side of that, and cold showers has taught me that. It's like, you might avoid this cold shower, and like there's been days where I used to avoid the cold shower like all day, and then finally at like 6 p.m. I took one, and I felt so good. I'm like, oh, why didn't I just I've been in a slight funk all day, and I could have avoided this, like, I could have avoided being off just if I would have done this cold shower first thing in the morning rather than, like, procrastinating on this all day. It's like I knew I was going to feel good, but I didn't do it, and I was scared to do it. I was scared to face that uncomfortable first few seconds. And it's just like, I don't need to live my life like that. Everything that I want is outside of my comfort zone, and I can get all the things that I desire if I just stop procrastinating on them and I just do what's good for me, even when it's hard. So I don't procrastinate in other areas of life now. I'm not afraid to face other challenges now because of that. Like, I'm not afraid to have a difficult conversation. If I know I gotta have, a difficult conversation with someone, rather than procrastinating, I just jump in because I'm like, I know I'm gonna feel better after having this conversation than I will by putting this off. Like, I know I'm gonna feel better after getting out of that cold shower than I will off of just, procrastinating and distracting myself. Like, so there's so many benefits of it. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to everyone that you love. It's going to improve your sleep. It's going to improve your digestion. It's going to improve your muscle recovery. It's going to help you build more muscle. It's going to help you lose fat. It's going to help improve your brain function and help your it's going to help your cardiovascular health, so you can breathe deeper and more fully. It's going to make you look more beautiful by improving your skin and your hair. Like, there's just so many benefits of cold exposure. That's why I wanted to do this whole episode dedicated to this topic. I've mentioned it on many other episodes, but usually it's like a 2-minute side tangent when the episode's about something else. So come season 2 of this podcast, you can expect to see more deep dives onto specific topics. And if there's any specific topics that you'd like to hear a deep dive on, hit me up. If it's something I'm knowledgeable in, I'd love to make an episode on it. If not, maybe it's something that I'll start learning deeply about, and then, down the road I can do an episode on it, because I don't like to just talk about stuff that I intellectually know. I only talk about stuff that I'm currently practicing and implementing in my life. And this has been one of the biggest game changers for me. It's really up-leveled my life so much. I think Tony Robbins might have been the first one that I really heard it from, and I was just so inspired by him. Like, here's this badass billionaire who is strong and healthy and has all just extraordinary amounts of energy, and he does a cold plunge every day, and he's talking about all this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna try that. And then I started going deep down a rabbit hole of self-improvement and personal growth, and I just noticed it was a trend. Like, how come 90% of the successful people I look up to talk about cold exposure? Even people that are not athletes or not really super into health and wellness, like entrepreneurs, are just doing it for their brain and for, other benefits, like spiritual benefits and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I would be a fool not to try this. I start trying it, and it just makes my life better and better and better the more I do it. So, I love cold showers. I love ice baths, but more than anything, I love cold exposure in nature, ice cold streams, lakes, rivers, oceans. You feel so alive jumping in a natural body of water that's really cold. You get out feeling so connected to the earth, so connected and embodied in your higher self, and you can conquer the world, you can take on anything. It's just, it feels great. So go get out there, jump into some ice cold water, and your whole entire being will thank you for it. That's pretty much all I have for you on today's episode. I could talk about this for hours because it's a subject that I'm clearly passionate on, that's clearly improved my life. And I'm just a natural teacher. Since I was a little kid, I just loved helping people overcome challenges that I personally had overcame myself. And I just love helping people improve their quality of life in any way that I can. That's why I'm on this planet. At least that's one of the biggest reasons I'm on this planet. And I'm so grateful to be able to share this wisdom with you. So I really appreciate you tuning in. I love you so much with all my heart. If you got any benefits from this episode whatsoever, please shoot me a DM on Instagram or a text message or a Facebook message, or share this episode. If you could take one action to help me grow this podcast, and it's not about just helping me, it's about helping the world with this information, because all of us are one, and really we're only as successful and as happy as the weakest member of our society. So let's all bring something to the paradigm of improving this planet, and you can do wonders just by sharing this episode, or just by helping messages like this spread to more people, because you're directly impacting the world and making this planet a better place for all of us. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about me, it's about we, And together we can rise up. Let's keep spreading the good vibes. Let's keep embodying our higher selves and doing everything we can to thrive. It's almost 2020, baby. It's a beautiful life. Let's make the most of it. I love you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Peace and richest blessings. Go create an amazing rest of your day. Take a cold shower or an ice bath tonight or tomorrow morning. And keep being the best version of yourself, yo. You deserve it. Everyone you love deserves it. Together we rise. Love you so much. I'll see you soon on another episode.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please send Burnell Washburn a message letting him know that you listened to this episode and it was straight fire. Peace and richest blessings.